Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Everything is Bad new Fangled motion picture show.
Hello, one and all. It's that magical time of year when we start getting all kinds of Christmas movie specials. Only, man, the existence of this movie, I think, gives credence to, the idea of the war on Christmas.
I think most of those those Hallmark movies are
those Hallmark Christmas movies, of which this year there are a record number, by the way.
It's like 26 of them or something like that.
Get excited.
Yeah.
Every single one of those movies is better than Nutcracker and the Four Realms.
Yeah, we haven't even seen any of those, but I think that's fairly safe to say.
Safe bet. As is Christmas tradition, I am Niall.
And I am Nolan. Thanksgiving tradition.
Thanksgiving tradition?
Yeah.
We don't have a traditional Thanksgiving, though. We don't eat turkey.
Not anymore.
Nope.
As of last year.
Yep. Never going back. It's all beef, baby. Alright, anyway. Oh, man. So, yeah, we'll be doing a spoiler-free review. Not that there's much to spoil, because the plot of this movie's real light and real predictable.
Yeah.
So, we'll be doing a spoiler-free review where we tell you don't bother spending money on this movie, and then we'll do a spoiler warning, and we'll go more in-depth into it and explain in more detail why you shouldn't see this movie.
Yeah.
So we don't... If you listen to our other reviews, we don't do a lot of bad reviews on movies, because we don't...
We don't see everything. We see a lot.
We don't make money at this, so we have no real motivation to see movies that we wouldn't like to begin with.
Yeah.
However, our mom, being the Disney-phile she is, wanted to see this movie, and being the good sons we are, took her to see it. And when even she decided she's not going to buy this movie on Blu-ray, you know it's a bad movie. It's a bad Disney movie.
We're fortunate it was $5 movie night.
Yep.
We saw it.
But Tuesday night at one of the theaters in town.
All right, let's start. There are my biggest, I don't know if it's my biggest problem, but one of my problems with it is you can look at it and see the groundwork for a potentially good movie.
Yeah.
There's some potentially good stuff there, and it just didn't follow through with it. And like the set design and costume design and stuff was all really great stuff. There's most of the visual effects were pretty good. Every once in a while you saw something, it's like, it's obviously CG. Could spend a little bit more time tweaking some of the CG, but most of it was really good. And there's some good stuff there. It's just most of the movie just doesn't. There's not enough of the rest of the movie to like hold that together.
Yeah. So this movie, it feels like the Alice in Wonderland movies. The first one was 2010, right?
Something like that. The one Tim Burton did.
Yeah, the Tim Burton Alice in Wonderland movie combined with the Chronicles of Narnia is how this movie felt.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, even the moral of the story of, all you need in life is the strength within you, and you're a strong person, fell flat because at no point was there any implication that the main character wasn't.
Right, like,
and so it felt weird, like saying
so.
She didn't come off as someone who needed this motivation.
Right, like it starts off. The movie starts off with us finding out that she's very mechanically inclined. Right, she's like a genius when it comes to mechanical things.
Yep.
And she gets that from her mother, I guess. Then also like
who's an inventor or something.
Yeah, and then Morgan Freeman's like a mentor to her, and his character makes all these clockwork wonders and stuff. And but I guess that's supposed to mean she's an outcast, but at no point does anyone treat her differently because of that.
Yeah, no one's like, oh, that weirdo.
Yeah, no one's like, put that stuff away and put on a dress, or...
I mean, other than go put on a dress because we're running late for the party.
Yeah, we're running late for the big Christmas ball.
Yeah.
Put on a nice dress, but
no one's like trying to stop her from doing, working with machines.
No one criticizes her for it. No one looks down on her for anything. And it's not like, because that same message was in that first Alice in Wonderland movie, and everyone around her is trying to get Alice to change and be a different person than is her natural personality, right? And so that movie succeeded in giving that message, but this one didn't.
It felt weird because it was a message without a need for it.
Yeah.
So that's just the first point where like the story falls flat. They spend a decent amount of time like setting up her mother's dead. This isn't spoilers. This is something we find out in the first couple minutes of the movie. Her mother's dead, and been dead for a year hence. Died on Christmas, I think, because no one in the family none of the kids seemed to really want to celebrate Christmas. It's sort of implied, I think, that she died on Christmas.
Yeah, thereabouts Christmas anyway.
Yeah, and so it sort of tainted the holiday for him, and they have to keep up appearances because her father, the Mr. Was it Stahlbaum, is someone important, presumably. They live in a pretty big house in London in 1870s, I think.
80s maybe.
It's kind of hard to tell. I think
late 1800s.
Yeah, I think it's like the late 1800s.
Horses and buggies around.
Yeah, no cars yet, so probably not past the turn of the century. But yeah, he's someone important, presumably, and has to keep up appearances. So they're going to this party being hosted by Morgan Freeman, who is presumably also someone important because he owns this massive manor house with these huge sprawling gardens.
Yeah.
But at no point do we find out, like, why does he have to keep up appearances? He just does.
Well,
and it could have just been something.
I don't see a point that he's keeping up appearances. He just has party. He has a big Christmas party.
No, her father. Sorry.
Oh, well, I don't know why he would have to keep up appearances when Morgan Freeman, because his character is his daughter's godfather.
Yeah, presumably he's a pretty close friend of the family.
Right. So why should he have to keep up
appearances? It's just really weird. I mean, if at some point someone had just addressed her father as like ambassador or something, that's all it would have taken for me to go, okay. And then Morgan Freeman's like, who the hell is he? Like, why is he so important? Why does he have these massive balls?
Drosselmeyer is his name.
Drosselmeyer. It just makes no sense.
Yeah, he's really... I don't know if I want to spoil it.
Yeah. And so, yeah, he ends up, though, getting Clara, the main character, into this magical Narnia world. And
it felt like Narnia. Like, she
walks out into a pine forest covered in snow.
Yeah, and...
mystical pine forest covered in snow.
Yeah, it's...
So,
very Narnia.
But, I mean, they spend quite a bit of time setting that up and going through this party and everything, and then everything in the magical world feels rushed as a result.
Yeah, the movie's
an hour and 39 minutes, which is about as long as you can make a movie that you're trying to tout as a family Christmas movie.
Yeah,
you could maybe push that to like an hour 45.
Like they could have stretched the movie out a little bit more and built on some of this stuff.
I think they could have just not. There's a scene in particular I think could have really been cut down on, and then they could have built up other stuff, and I'll go more into that in the spoiler part. But yeah, there's just like I don't know, it's just everything felt so rushed. It was just,
and then it's also this weird amalgamation of culture. So if you're unaware, this movie is based loosely on the ballet The Nutcracker by Tchaikovsky, who's Russian, who based it off of a French adaptation of a German story.
It's so European.
Yeah, so I mean, the original story, The Nutcracker and the Rat King, was a German story, and then Alexander Dumas, who wrote the Three Musketeers, among many other things, wrote an adaptation of that book in French, and then Tchaikovsky and whoever the ballet choreographer was, they got together and they adapted that story into the ballet The Nutcracker, which is what the most
Russians,
famous version of the whole thing.
Yeah, the Russians since like the 1700s, I think, have been really obsessed with ballet. So.
Yeah, and then that ballet was somewhat the inspiration for this.
Yeah, well, the ballet is what most people are familiar with. If they're familiar with the Nutcracker, beyond just knowing that it's a Christmas-themed ballet, if they're familiar with it at all, they're most likely familiar with the ballet.
Well, what's funny is it has a credit, not like inspired by or based on or anything like that. Suggested by the short story The Nutcracker and the Mouse King, written by E.T.A. Hoffman.
That's just a weird phrasing.
Yeah.
You normally
also suggested by the Nutcracker Ballet.
Yeah, normally you see based on for movie adaptations of books.
Or inspired by.
Yeah, inspired by or based on. So, if someone's doing like a pretty strict adaptation, it'll say based on you say based on characters by, whomever. Mm-hmm. If it's just sort of a loose inspiration, they'll say inspired by, but suggested by.
It feels like it's an even looser.
Yeah.
Adaptation, like it just came and whispered in your ear, the Nutcracker.
Yeah. Ooh. So beyond that, so it's got this. It's got a pretty well-known cast.
I also want to point out that the screenwriter Ashley Powell, this is her first credit.
Yeah.
So, I guess that makes
screen story by and screenplay by, which means she did basically all the heavy lifting on the story.
Yeah.
So this has this, it's got Morgan Freeman, and it's got Keira Knightley, and it's got Helen Mirren. So like it has some pretty significant names in it, but none of those people felt like they gave a shit about this movie.
Yeah.
I just didn't seem like it seemed like an average Morgan Freeman appearance, which is still really good acting because, consummate professional, but no one seemed like they were really giving it their all. And Keira Knightley's voice just drove me insane.
She had this
she's the Sugar Plum Fairy.
Yeah, she had this voice that was like grating.
Yeah.
Mackenzie Foy, I guess she seemed to be trying pretty hard in it.
Well, she's
the
lead in the movie, so.
But the titular character wasn't great either.
Yeah, he wasn't great.
He only has one other credit on IMDb, by the way, which is like guy playing tennis in Ready Player One.
Yeah. But yeah, so he was kind of stiff.
But he is a Nutcracker.
He had a cool costume though.
Yeah,
he had this like Bavarian.
The costumes looked really cool.
He had this Bavarian style helmet from looked like it was a gold version of the Bavarian line infantry helmet from the Franco-Prussian War, which is the only reason in my mind that I think this movie is set in like the 1870s. It's a very, very weird specific thing to like lock in on for trying to place the time period of this movie, but there you have it. That's
well, and they obviously don't really care what time it is.
Yeah,
there's a lot of evidence in here that they're not really caring about that,
right?
But yeah, like all the costuming's pretty cool in this movie.
Yeah,
and like the sets are really good.
the castle. This is the castle that's like the in the capital, I guess, for lack of a better word, in the magical realm. Like it pans up, and I was like, that looks like the Kremlin.
Well, yeah, it's this big Russian
red walled Russian with the the like bulb shaped top. What are those called on a castle?
Minarets.
Minarets, like the bulb shaped minarets. You know, like it just pans up. It's all red walled too. That was the real thing that made me go.
But like
looks like the Kremlin.
But like the minarets are all like brightly colored and look like blown glass and all that. So it's like it's basically the Kremlin.
Yeah. So I think this movie would have been really cool if they'd have just basically told the story of the short story and the ballet, you know, but this sort of like interpretation, like, you know, so you don't have like a actual literal Nutcracker. You have this black dude in this German uniform is the Nutcracker because he's brought to life through magic or what have you, and that's fine. But I think it still just would have been a better movie if they hadn't tried to. I don't know. It's just so weird, and we'll get more into what I'm into, like how it's not really like the ballet and the spoiler parts I guess. But I mean, there's the quote unquote big reveal in the movie. I leaned over to you basically when the character was introduced, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, "Hey, how much you want to bet this?" And sure enough,
yeah,
it was just a really predictable movie. So much in the magic world felt rushed, and like it just felt like a very flat.
You know, it's kind of funny
world development.
Looking back on it,
there's this weird ballet segment in the middle of it. I'm not even joking.
At Drosselmeyer's mansion felt more magical than the magical world.
Yeah.
There's just like this air of
wonderment
there and mystery and you don't know what's around any corner, and it's just
also
whimsical and all this stuff.
Everything in Drosselmeyer's mansion felt like a different director than the rest of the movie. I mean, it was just so different. Everything about it was different.
Yeah, but then when you get to the magical realm, it was kind of like, yeah, okay, neat, I guess.
Yeah.
There's nothing that really stood out as all that fantastical.
Yeah, but I mean, if you have, like, you know, all your nieces and nephews and young cousins in town for Thanksgiving, assuming this movie's still in theater by then, it might be worth it just because it's like this. I mean, it'll keep the kids entertained. There's a lot to look at. But, I mean, it's just... I love Christmas, man, and this movie's just really disappointing. So, yeah, that's my take on it.
Yeah.
Pacing was weird. The timing of certain things was weird. The revelation wasn't really a revelation. Super predictable movie.
Mm-hmm.
Really flat characters. Basically no character development of any kind.
Yeah, or were they like... And then like even worse is you have like these scenes where that should be the results of character development, but since there wasn't that development there, they're just like extra bad.
Yeah, you're just like, where did this come from?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just an all-around rough movie. And it getting delayed by a year didn't help. And my prediction on this movie wasn't that it was going to be a bad movie necessarily going into it. I believe my words were, this movie is going to lose Disney a lot of money. Because it clearly cost them a lot of money to make this movie.
Well, yeah, I mean, like all the visual effects, it's visual effects in majority of the shots, even if they're just like set extensions or something, it's all there, and there's a lot of it, and it all looks like, other than like a few instances, it all looks really good.
Yeah, that's true. And then there's some like Class A talent involved too.
Mm-hmm.
And the advertising campaign that's gone into this movie, I mean, I just look at it and go, man, Disney spent a shitload of money on this movie, and it's not going to make it back.
Yeah.
And since it's a Christmas movie, you can't count on it'll do well in China, as you can with all the, like, bad action movies. Like, World of Warcraft, you look at the numbers in America, you go, this movie's going to lose money. And then you look at the numbers worldwide, and you go, nope, China saved it.
Yeah.
You get that with a lot of bad movies.
That's not going to happen in China. It maybe might do better in Europe.
Probably not.
Who knows? Let's just say there's not going to be anyone putting on any Clara dresses at the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique at Disneyland.
Probably not.
So,
yeah. So anyway, going into the spoiler part then?
yeah.
All right. Spoiler warning. Henceforth. So, as soon as they introduced Mother Ginger, Helen Mirren's character, and we're like, this is the villain, I leaned over to Nolan and was like, how much you want to bet she's not really the villain?
Yeah. And then I was guessing, well, if she's not the villain, it's gotta be
Sugar Plum
Fairy.
Yeah. And sure enough. Well, it's like you have Sugar Plum Fairy, who not only is the one that's like doing the most to help Clara out when she gets there, but also is Keira Knightley, and then the two lords of the other realms, whose names I don't even remember.
Lord of Snowflakes and Lord of Flowers or whatever.
Yeah. And they're two actors where you're like, who the hell are these people?
Yeah, and then they're hardly in the movie at all. Like, Sugar Plum Fairy comes in and takes Clara under her wing, is like, oh, I'll help you out. And the other two were just kind of background characters, and they just disappear into the rest of the movie. So, okay, obviously they're not going to be the villains because they're not in the movie.
Right.
And
so
I don't understand the Sugar Plum Fairy's motivation. So, Clara's mother, here's the background of the story. Clara's mother somehow discovers this other realm.
All in Narnia.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, did she bring everyone there to life? Or were there some people already living there?
It's so weird.
So it's not clear on that regard, but she has a device that
moves the plot.
That moves the plot.
It's a plot device.
It's a plot device, yes. It's like a tricorder. No, it brings things to life.
Specifically like toys?
Yeah, toys and stuff. And so I'm unclear whether the world is populated solely by the things she's brought to life with this device, or if there were already some people living there. But anyway, everyone there worshipped Claire's mother, and they made her queen. And then she has these four...
we'll call it kick-ass dukes.
Anyway, there's these, like, the leaders of these four realms.
I mean, they'd be like dukes.
Yeah, they had a name for them. I don't remember what it was. Might be in the
Let
credits.
me see if it's in the synopsis.
Or if it's listed.
No, it listed their names. Shiver and Hawthorne were the names.
Yeah, I didn't even pick that up from the movie.
Well, I picked up Shiver because I thought they called him Shiva at first. I was like, all right. I mean, it's weird to have a Hindu name in your Christmas movie, but okay.
Anyway.
And then it occurred to me that's not what they said.
Anyway, and then Claire's mother, I guess she like traveled back and forth between the realm and the real world periodically and stuff, and then she up and dies. And the Sugar Plum is not okay with that. And so...
How dare she be mortal?
How dare she die? How dare she... Well, she felt like she was abandoned or something. And so her whole reaction to this feeling of abandonment is to
turn everyone against Mother Ginger?
Yeah, turn everyone against Mother Ginger, who's Helen Mirren's character.
And use that to take over.
Yeah, I guess...
Like, because she needed an enemy.
Right, so she makes...
To seize power.
Helen Mirren, Mother Ginger, into her enemy, and then...
She's the Rat Queen.
Well, she makes clockwork devices, right?
Yeah.
Or... Like, her realm is the realm of...
Circuses.
Yeah, like, there's like circuses.
Like a
carnival, yeah. So...
Because there's like a merry-go-round.
And there's clowns.
There's Russian nesting doll clowns.
Yeah,
that was actually kind of... It was creepy, but it was kind of visually a cool sequence.
Yeah. So anyway, I guess she convinces everyone, it's not known how, but she convinces everyone that Mother Ginger is evil, and then she gets And so they're at war with Mother Ginger, and Mother Ginger's like,
well, what's weird?
I don't know
what's
what.
weird is they said, oh yeah, she's trying to take over the other 3 realms by force, but there's never any evidence that she ever did any of that.
Especially because she wasn't doing that.
Right, but I mean, it's just...
And then when Clara shows up, she brings with her the key that activates the device that brings things to life.
Well, she's given this egg.
Yeah.
That has this key, this weird key in it. A weird keyhole.
The egg was left to her by her mother.
Yeah, and so she's at Morgan Freeman's Christmas party, and there's this tradition where all the kids are given presents, and so they all go to like this gazebo in the middle of his massive garden, and they all have these strings tied to it with their names on it. They follow the strings through the house. They're all like winding around upstairs and through hallways and crap, and they find their toys. Her younger, just bumped the mic. Her younger brother gets like a toy soldier or something, or he gets a Nutcracker.
He gets a Nutcracker,
and it's supposed to be like treats and toys and presents,
chocolates,
for all the kids. Well, she follows the string through this hallway with this weird owl wallpaper, really creepy room, and follows it in through, and she comes out into this magic land that's totally not Narnia. And there's this tree there that's got all these fireflies in it, so it looks like a Christmas tree all lit up. And hanging on one of the branches is the key to that egg. And this egg was also left to her by her dead mother. That's also a big important thing.
mentioned that.
Yeah. So the
egg's a music box. By the way.
So she goes to get the key, and it gets snatched by the mouse, which immediately turns you against the mice because this dick just took her key.
Right. And the mouse forms up with hundreds of other mice to make a giant mouse. It's kind of cool sequence, actually.
Yeah.
He's the Mouse King. Anyway, the key becomes the MacGuffin. Anyway, the key also, besides opening the music box, it also activates the
God Machine.
The God Machine. It
creates life from unlife.
And so, Sugar Plum Fairy makes an army of tin soldiers, and all it really does is make these toy-sized tin soldiers into giant, like taller than a man tin soldiers, and they just like move around all stiffly because they're made out of tin.
But literally everything else it brought into like just being a regular person.
Yeah,
so it really doesn't follow its own canon.
No, it doesn't, because the thing works in reverse. And so if you took like one of the living human-looking soldiers and put it in reverse, it turns them into a wooden Nutcracker.
Oh, a wooden soldier.
A wooden toy soldier.
Yeah.
Because there's only the one Nutcracker.
For reasons.
The captain.
Yeah, the captain.
He's Captain Paul or Philip. Captain Philip.
Captain Philip?
Yeah, there he is, Philip.
And he's played by someone so new at acting, he doesn't even have an IMDb profile picture.
No. And then at the end, when they zap the Sugar Plum Fairy with it, she turns into a porcelain, little porcelain figurine.
Well, yeah, because the Sugar Plum Fairy in the ballet, as I recall, is supposed to be the porcelain figurine that spins on the top of a music box.
Yeah. So, yeah, it doesn't follow its own rules. Well, see, that's one of the reasons why I was questioning, like, will it turn anything into a toy? But then, if it already started as a toy, does it just make it a bigger toy? And then the living things are there, were they already just living people there?
But we know that the dude, the black dude that follows her around, is a Nutcracker, and he just looks like a dude.
That's true.
So we know that that's not the case.
Right. So yeah, it doesn't follow its own rules.
It doesn't follow its own rules,
and
which
I
is
hate
frustrating.
That.
And oh man, she pulled out she sneaks in towards the end of the movie. She sneaks into the room where all this is happening with this God Machine, and she pans over, and there's this rack with these boxes of clockwork mice, and I was like, oh, is she gonna put one of those in the thing, and it's gonna make it like this big rideable mouse, and she'll mount it and ride it, because that'd be cool.
That didn't happen.
No, she just winds up the key on it and sends it off.
Doesn't use the machine on it all. So here's the thing.
It's really disappointing.
Sugar Plum has everyone in the kingdom convinced that Mother Ginger is their enemy, and they prove through the movie that regular dudes are better than these tin soldiers because the tin soldiers are just literally pushovers. Shouldn't she just have gone and invaded with the living soldiers instead of invaded with her tin soldiers?
Yeah, but she'd already locked up.
Or she could have just. Well, why did she even have to lock anyone up? She could have just augmented her army with the tin soldiers, and I mean,
yeah, because whoever the rules are, whoever brings the thing to life has control over them. Oh, but when Sugar Plum is turned back into a toy and all the tin soldiers drop, by that logic, the Nutcracker and all those wood soldiers should have also gone, like, just collapsed when Clara's mother died. Right?
Yeah, that's true. Again, breaking its own rules.
I was also really disappointed by the lack of a giant knife switch on this god machine.
It's not Frankenstein.
But, I mean, you're bringing life from something that is not living.
You just want a scene where Clara's mother is like, "It's alive!"
Basically. So, there's this weird segment in the middle of the movie. It's supposed to be a story building segment, and it's really poorly executed. Because they're like, you know, she shows up and it's like, oh, you need to come to the pageant. And they get her a dress. Clara gets a dress from Sugar Plum and gets her hair done and everything. And so they go and they watch this ballet. Except it's this really, like, abstracted ballet.
The ballet is supposed to tell the story of Clara's mother showing up and creating this world.
Yeah, and confronting the Mouse King, which that was weird because I'm like, everyone already said that Mother Ginger at one point had one of those 4 big chairs in that throne room and was one of the dukes or whatever, and then turned evil. And everyone knows that. Everyone knows it. But this ballet says something different. And no one questions it. No one's like, yeah, that's not what happened.
Yeah.
Which, that's really weird. But it's this, they were like, oh, you know, it's based on a ballet. We'll have this ballet in the middle and to explain the world. That's real clever. Except they had this weird interpretive ballet that, like, they must have realized partway through filming that they're like, man, no one's going to understand this. Because they interspersed this weird montage in it of Clara, like, visiting these other lands and, like, riding in chariots through these other lands.
You got to come to the pageant and you got to visit the realms.
Right.
And so it's just sort of assumed that, like, she does that, but there should have been like, okay, you go to the pageant and then you go visit the realms. There should have been a separate montage. But to explain the ballet, we have this voiceover, or not really voiceover because it cuts back and forth between her being there.
Sugar Plum's explaining.
Sugar Plum explaining the ballet.
They should have just had a less abstract ballet that's more easily understood just by watching it.
Yeah.
And then, oh man, there was another ballet sequence during the credits. We'll get to that in a bit.
That was weird.
That was really weird. So yeah, and so it's just the world building was bad. The storytelling was predictable. There's literally no character development. The 3 big names that they have in the movie just really feel like they're phoning it in on their roles.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I mean...
Well, I mean...
What a train wreck of a movie, man.
I mean, can't I think of her name?
Use your words. Who?
Sugar Plum...
Oh, Keira Knightley.
Keira Knightley. Couldn't think of her name. I mean, she's, like, chewing the scenery. She is, like, hamming it up hard in this. I mean, I wouldn't say that she's phoning it in, but she's, like, on the opposite spectrum of that, is just, like, going overboard on some...
It's like she's been bored ever since like, the last Pirates movie or something, and was just like, oh, I don't get to do weird shit in movies anymore. I want to do weird shit in movies again. My underbite demands weird shit in movies.
Yeah.
Yes, just, oh man. And, I mean, Disney's made a lot of movies that I didn't personally care for because they're just for a younger audience than me or what have you. But very rarely have they made just an outright bad movie.
Yeah, and like I said at the beginning, the potential is there for a much better movie.
Yeah.
It needed more. It needed more work leading up to it to get this movie in the state that it could have been a better movie. I mean, they did what they could to bolster it with, like I said, great production value.
Right.
But
Well, lots of money.
But you're just, you know, throwing money at a sinking ship here. I'm mixing my metaphors. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Don't see this movie. It's bad. So
Yeah.
So there's this credits scene.
oh right.
Let's go over this real quick. So credits roll, and it's showing these like clips from a ballet, presumably of the Nutcracker, although that's debatable.
Yeah, I don't know. It has the prima ballerina who was the sole ballerina in the ballet sequence.
No, there was some backup ballerinas.
Were there?
And a couple shots, yeah. Like
What do you call a male ballerina?
ballerino?
Maybe?
I have no idea.
There were a bunch of those.
Ripped?
Well,
Swole?
yeah. There were a bunch of those, but there was this prima ballerina. I guess she's well known in the ballet community.
Yeah, so yeah, she shows her doing this like
she's got like some pretty ripped arms though. She definitely lifts.
Well, they gotta hold the positions with those arms up and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, during the credits, the first part of the credits sequence, it shows this like weird, like really abstracted ballet. I guess it was supposed to be of the Nutcracker, I think, but it's like it looks like interpretive dance. It's literally just like
these random colors in the background.
Yeah, it's like black background with the spotlights of like red and green just in the background, and then and then at one point I think there was some trees that came in, but for the most part it's just an empty room.
But then it brings in this black guy who's doing like hip hop style dancing.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
That was the weirdest part to me.
It's just it was weird juxtaposition.
Yeah, and
I don't think intending to be that.
I don't know what that purpose was, but they just have this guy like hip hop style dancing, like little breaking dancing.
I just don't. There's so much about this movie I don't understand, and like the more I talk about it, the more angry I get that it's just such a bad movie.
I think it's a little extreme.
Okay, come on, man. Even our mother went, "I'm not buying this movie" at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And I mean,
no, I get that, but I don't think it's like something to get angry over.
Yeah. I just gotta wonder, where were the producers when this movie was being made? At what point does someone from the studio not go, "No, get the fuck out of here. We're bringing in a different writer and different director"?
I mean, the script definitely needed some work. I think that could have helped the movie a lot if they had just given the script a few more drafts, maybe handed off to a different writer, you know, to clean up. I mean, there are script writers who all they do is they take already written scripts and they just fix them.
Yeah.
They make them better.
So,
I mean, that's what Lawrence Kasdan did to the Star Wars movies.
yeah. So, yeah, I cannot recommend avoiding this movie enough. So, I think that's enough ranting about that dumpster fire. What do you think?
Yeah.
Alright, what is coming out this week? Oh, we're behind because we were busy last weekend. So Bohemian Rhapsody review should be out tomorrow, maybe? Maybe the day after?
Yeah.
But this week...
And I want to see Overlord.
Yeah. So this week is Overlord. I am interested in The Girl in the Spider's Web just because it looks like an interesting, like, spy thriller type movie. But I haven't seen The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and I don't see myself having the opportunity to. So, it's same thing with you, right?
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that's probably not going to happen, at least not this week. And then the following week is Crimes of Grindelwald, which, I mean, I'm going to go see it because it's a big deal Harry Potter movie, whatever, but kind of indifferent about it at this moment.
Yeah, like I said, I think of all the Harry Potter movies, I think the previous Fantastic Beasts one is actually my favorite. But just the stuff that I've seen on this one, I've been kind of underwhelmed in it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I just felt like the previous one ended at a point where I didn't really need to see more.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then the following week, which is Thanksgiving week, is a busy one. We have Ralph Breaks the Internet, which I'm calling it right now is going to be a bad movie. Because anytime a movie studio decides to make a movie based on internet culture, and this happened a couple times, it always falls flat because all the references and jokes were old when they wrote the script 2 years before the movie came out. It's just that you can't, without writing a script and filming the movie the next day and editing it the day after that, you cannot be current enough when making a movie to make a movie about the internet.
Yeah.
But that week is also Creed 2, which Creed was cool. I don't think they needed a sequel, but I'll go see this one.
If the son of Drago does not say, "I will break you," I'm going to be kind of disappointed.
Yeah. And then Robin Hood is also that week, which looks like Robin Hood if set in the same world as that Guy Ritchie King Arthur movie.
Yeah, also Green Book looks really good.
Oh yeah, Green Book looks really good. It's total Oscar bait, which is fine. But it's got I'm gonna butcher his name, Mahershala Ali.
Something like that.
But he's the guy who played Cottonmouth in the first season of Luke Cage.
He's been popping up in so much stuff lately.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen him in he's in some TV series. True Detective.
Yeah, True Detective.
Yeah, I've been seeing ads for that.
He's in Alita Battle Angel.
Yeah.
Cool. He's in Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see.
That's 2 different Marvel characters for him.
Comrade Detective.
I want to see that show.
Yeah, he's just been popping up in a lot of stuff lately, and which is great. He's a great actor too.
Yeah, he's a really great actor. I mean, if you've seen Luke Cage, you know he's easily the best actor from the first season of Luke Cage. Probably both seasons. Both seasons. Right, was there 2 seasons?
There's 3 seasons.
3 seasons of Luke
There's 3
Cage.
seasons of Luke Cage.
That's right. The second one was just kind of okay. So I think it's why they sort of blend together for me. But yeah, he's a really great actor, and it also has Viggo. That movie also has Viggo Mortensen, Green Book, which, I mean, I was like, Viggo Mortensen's in this movie. When's the horse gonna show up? And it never showed up in the trailer. It's weird.
Yeah.
But it looks like a really good movie.
So it's like 4 movies in that week.
Good thing it's Thanksgiving week. We're gonna be the reason that those poor saps in the movie theater have to work on Thanksgiving.
Well, wouldn't it be better? Like, don't you think they'd feel better if people actually showed up on the day they're forced to be there, rather than like they have to show up to work and no one shows up?
It's a weird thing where they have to work because it's always a busy day, Thanksgiving, because there's always like mom turns to dad and says, take the kids and all the nieces and nephews that are at our house, get them the hell out of the house while I cook dinner, go do something, but get them away from me.
Yeah.
And so movies are like the go-to for that. But if no one went to the movie theater on Thanksgiving, those movie theater workers would have the day off. It would just close them. But yeah, and then what's at the very end of November? Yeah, nothing really.
No, Thanksgiving weekend's always the big release weekend in
yeah.
November,
So some of those movies from Thanksgiving week, 1 or 2 of them might get pushed to the following week. If we had to prioritize, probably do Ralph Breaks the Internet so we can jump on telling you how bad it is.
Although
right
that's
away.
the one that'd probably be in the theater the longest.
Yeah.
Now that I'm concerned, like a week later, any of these other movies are gonna be gone.
Yeah. I think of those 4 movies, The Green Book looks like the best movie.
Yeah.
I think Robin Hood will be a really fun movie. I think I'll really enjoy it. I like Taron Egerton. I like Jamie Foxx. You know, so I think it'll be a really entertaining movie. But let's face it, it's not going to be a good movie.
Not great, no.
So, that's what we got coming up for November. Then we start getting into the December madness. And there's going to be more Oscar Beatty stuff coming up, like Mary, Queen of Scots, which I actually kind of want to see. Because that, I think, actually does look like a good movie, like just a well-done movie.
Finally gonna get Spider-Man.
Into the Spider-Verse and The Mule with Clint Eastwood and Mortal Engines. That's going to be another busy week.
Yeah.
Middle of December.
Aquaman.
Bumblebee, and Mary Poppins Returns are all the same week.
I'm most excited for Bumblebee and all of those. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I think that looks like the best movie.
Yeah. We're skipping Holmes and Watson.
Holmes and Watson looks terrible.
We'll see Vice, I think.
Yeah.
So, we're also kind of suckers for bioflicks. So.
Yeah. Plus, it's got
Christian Bale.
Well, him, but oh man, what's his name? He's playing W. Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell, yeah.
Sam Rockwell is always great.
Yeah, so that'll be cool. That's what we got coming up through the end of the end of the year. Some of it's gonna be awful. I'm calling it now. Some of it'll be really good, and it's just gonna be it's a busy time. It's a good time to be a person who has disposable income and the means to go to a movie theater every week, and live in a place where movies aren't outlandishly expensive to go to.
Yay!
Not
living in New York.
That's always a benefit. All right. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, a review of Bohemian Rhapsody should be our next video. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, hit that subscribe button. Or don't. I don't think it actually does that much on YouTube anymore. I don't know how to play the algorithms to our benefit, so we're just shooting in the wind here.
I have to hire Matt Pat.
Yeah. Hire Matt Pat. Matt Pat, come grow my channel from 13 subscribers to 14.
13 million.
Yeah. Yeah, check out our other reviews. We see lots of movies. We talk about them. Can't help ourselves. And
Yeah, that's about it.
That's about it. Cool. Until next time. Thanks for listening. Toodles.
Bye.